Hey everybody, it's Aidan here once again in Assetto Corsa for a semi-chilled video today. Now if you live in the UK, you'll have noticed there's been a bit of iffy weather in the last week. Temperatures dropping to as low as -6 Celsius here in the Black Country, and Thursday night it was our turn to receive the snow. Can't even close the door because it's... Today is now Tuesday and the snow has gone and we've had temperatures of about 7 degrees, which means we've had an 11-degree swing in temperature since about Saturday or Sunday, and my asthma does not like that in the slightest. So after spending most of yesterday in bed, unable to breathe and watching videos on the Chernobyl disaster, I had an idea. F1 supercars. No, not Formula 1 cars versus V8 supercars, because I did that video last year and you can work out who would actually win that race, but... it's a cool little shootout as I'm still not feeling too great, and it's a chilled out environment to work in. So what you're going to see are several road cars from Formula 1 teams battling out over one lap around the Barcelona Grand Prix circuit. So Ferrari, McLaren, Caterham, Ford and subsidiary companies, so in Ford's case Aston Martin and Jaguar and so on, will all be eligible as they've all been constructors in Formula 1. Ford, for instance, had the factory team as Stewart, but also Jaguar as they owned Jag at the time, so that counts even though Aston has been in F1 in the 50s. Lamborghini, on the other hand, will not be eligible as they only supplied engines and didn't actually enter as a works team. Oh, and Lotus, of course. So I'm going to pick a few cars from those different brands, we'll take them down to Barcelona and we'll see what they can do. So here we are at the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona, or just outside of Barcelona. It's actually in Montmello, but it's the Circuit de Catalunya Barcelona now. But this is the first car we're going to be taking out, and it's the Lotus Evora. And next up, it's the Ferrari killer, the Ford GT40, the car that made Enzo Ferrari rage quit at the Le Mans 24 Hours. So if you ever come across anybody that says, "Oh, what do Americans know about racing? They only turn left," just say, "I don't know. Ask Enzo Ferrari." So then, like we did in the Evora, we're just going to come through the final sector here and then into the chicane. Very lumpy car this, and then get on the power, bring it through the final corner, and let's see what this American beast can do. Over the timing line. Default setup, I don't know if I mentioned that in the Lotus, but we've got default setup here. And I've also got bottle caps for brakes. But we managed to get through turn 1 pretty easily. Turn 2 now. Gently feed the throttle because the back end will want to go on me. Back end still wanting to slide through turn 3. Take it to the edge. Second gear for turn 4. Just got it pulled up in time. Back end wants to go. Heel and towing through the gears. Much more difficult car to drive this. How's it going to handle through the chicane that I hate? The chicane of hate. Temptation there to drift through turn 9. I think that's turn 9. Not really counting anymore. First gear needed for this corner. Use track app to sight the apex and the exit. Took it a bit wide. We're okay though. So the hard part with this challenge is jumping from one car to another. Because I know that the next car I jump into is going to have much better brakes. Because it won't be a car from the 60s, it'll be a car from the 21st century. We're going to come through. Final corner now. Lap over quicker than I anticipated. And across the line. There we go. Awesome. I quite enjoyed that. I've also just noticed that the steering wheel is on the correct side of the car. The right-hand side, not the left-hand side is expected in an American car. But yep, this was the Ford GT40. Let's see what else we can do. I think I've got an Alfa lined up. I think I've written down some of the cars I want to use, but yep, going to be driving an Alfa Romeo next. So next up, we've gone from British through American, now we're Italian. The Alfa Romeo 4C. Bless you. Now it's the turn of the Alfa 4C. Coming into the final chicane. And final corner just ahead. Almost had it full throttle through the final corner. But here comes the time lap. There's the timing line. Check our mirrors. Nobody else on track. Open to 5th gear now. Spot the braking point there. This thing just stops on a sixpence. It's unbelievable, and it's just so planted through each corner. A little bit of understeer coming through turn 3, but to be expected. We're on road tyres. And then out the other side, climbing in terms of speed. Hit the brakes here, down into 3rd gear. So much confidence in this car. It's like driving a go-kart compared to the other 2 cars we've driven. It's just unbelievable. I feel like I'm in an episode of Top Gear. This car does have traction control and anti-lock brakes. I'm going to use those to the full extent. See the car wobbling as the anti-lock brakes kick in under braking. Use all the track. Beautiful. I've got to spot my braking point for this next corner. There. And we can clip the apex much better than we did in the other 2 cars. Just power out the other side because we've got the traction control. It's just so stable. And I'm only using traction control and ABS where I can, just to keep things realistic. Use 3rd gear for this corner. Don't use 2nd. This one we do though. And a bit of sausage curb abuse. Around the final corner. Mad dash to the line. And we don't know what the time is. We'll reveal the times at the end. Wow. That is the best car yet. That was so good. So, let's move along and pick another car. So, now it is the time of the Germans. We're going to be taking a hot lap in the Mercedes SLS AMG, otherwise known as the Formula 1 safety car. Right then, the Mercedes SLS AMG. Get the power down, let's go. First car to feature sequential gearbox as well, so that should give it more than an advantage over the other 3 cars. Got into 6th gear. Need somewhere to brake. I'm going to brake here. 3rd gear for turn 1. Dab a curb on the inside. Dab a curb on the other inside. And then through the long turn 3. Car begins to bite eventually. I'll just take it all the way to the outside again. Anti-lock brakes saving me into turn 4. And there we go. Oh. Almost overcooked it onto that curb. Change down to third for the torque on the exit. Braking point for here is that orange wall. There it is. Then we get turned in here. Beautiful. This last part's quite tricky. Now the other side. Bit of brake. Second gear. Ah, bit too deep. Ah, ruined that final section. I hope that's not compromised me too much, but that's the SLS out of the way. Much more of a handful compared to the Alfa. There we go. Let's bring it back into the pit lane. Now, shall we break out the hypercars? I think we should break out the hypercars. So, what we've got here is the Ferrari LaFerrari. And I've just been doing a little bit of research here because I didn't believe it myself until I looked it up. But it turns out that Ferrari is derived from the last name Ferraro, which is an occupational surname kind of like mine. Someone who looks after a mill, or, you know, Cooper, someone who builds barrels, or, you know, that kind of thing. Archer. And it's derived from the Latin meaning ferrum, which means iron. So Ferrari itself becomes blacksmith. So what we're basically looking at here is, if we were to compare it to an English surname, Ferrari means smith. So what we've got here is the Smith, the Smith. Suddenly it's now lost all of its exoticness. But then again, if I had a plate of sick and put a Ferrari badge on it, people will want to buy it. But enough of that. Let's get it on track. Okay, so a couple more practice laps than I anticipated. This car is definitely something else, and I'm going to let you listen to it down the home straight here, because this V12 hybrid just sounds incredible. Sounds like those German dive bombers from the war. Down to third gear for first two corners here. Resist the urge to short shift into fourth. Just take it in third. Now we can boot it. Car's not so grippy in the corners in the front end, but once you get onto the straight bits and get your foot down, this thing just goes. It's like the man himself once said, aerodynamics are for people who can't build engines. So, for the time I'm losing in these corners, I'm just making it back up as soon as I get my foot back down. Turn the traction control down a little bit. Well, up a bit. Down is up with this thing, and it confuses the hell out of me. VRC are the only people who got it right. Down into third for this long right-hander, and there's the exit. Get the braking point just right for this tight hairpin. Use track hat to spot the apex there. Get out the other side. Cut this left-hander. Keep it in third. I don't like feathering the throttle through corners. Some guys do it, I don't. And then final couple of corners. Will this car have gone sub 2 minutes? That's the big question. And across the line. Has this car gone sub 2 minutes? I don't know. Can it go sub 2 minutes? I'm not sure. But, well, we're going to jump into one more car now, and since we're staying with the supercar theme, well, the hypercar theme, I should say, I think there's only one car we can choose. The P1. And the final car in this hot lap shootout, the car I would choose in a heartbeat over any other hypercar, unless a Jaguar XJ220 was offered as well, but I would definitely choose the McLaren P1. So, can we beat the Ferrari? Let's go and find out. And finally, the McLaren P1 hypercar. Now, when Chris Harris drove the Holy Trinity of hypercars, this was the quickest. But let's see how quick we can be. I'm not going to use DRS because that would be cheating. But for a start, we can be so much better on the brakes into the heavy braking zones here at Barcelona. And it wants to grip a little bit more than the LaFerrari. Sorry that I'm not commentating, but I need to concentrate here. This thing is an absolute animal. And it's my first time driving the P1 as well. I can't believe I've put it off this long. If you know this channel, then my preferred methods of getting around a track are a touring car, or a Formula 1 car, or some sort of open wheeler. Ah, downshift protection, I fucking hate you. Oh, I missed the apex completely for that corner, but I think we're okay. Because we're just better on the brakes. Braking much lighter than the Smith. Bit of style through there. See that wastegate blowing off. Beautiful noise. Oh, love it when the wastegate blows off. But anyway, final corner, finding the limits of grip, and come on, get across that line. There it is. Whew. Oh, that set my asthma back off again, hasn't it? Oh well. I am not well. So, the times. Let's get to the times. So, welcome back to Showroom View, and I'm pretty sure I say so or alright or okay at the beginning of every clip I start, so I might have to do a so compilation at some point. But anyway, the times. In reverse order, from slowest up to fastest. In last place, despite feeling really good to drive and really grippy and nippy and planted and all that good stuff, it was unfortunately the Alfa 4C with a 2:11.9. Then it was the Lotus who went 2.5 seconds quicker. I managed to do that in a 2:09.3. And 2.5 seconds faster than the Lotus was the Ford GT40 with a 2:07.9. Then the Mercedes SLS. I redid the SLS because I thought the mistakes probably hindered the lap time a bit too much. So I went out again and I did a 2:06.5, which was a little bit better than doing it with a messed up lap. Then here's the big one. The Ferrari LaFerrari did it in 1 minute 53.5. And the McLaren did it in 1 minute 52.1. The McLaren was just unbelievably good to drive. Just so quick, so planted, so much grip. You could wrestle with it all day and it would just stay on the track. The Ferrari, unfortunately, just did not have the front end grip. But I think if I did some setups on these cars, I could probably make them go quite a bit quicker. But yeah, you probably heard me wheezing at the end of the McLaren lap, so yeah, I'm still not 100%, but it's a video. I'm trying to get something out 3 days a week for you. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you've been able to see the difference between a slow car and a fast car, really. So it's not really been educational, but anyway, I hope it's been entertaining at least. So until Friday, hopefully when I'm feeling a little bit better, I'll do something else for you. I'm thinking of doing the Life Formula 1 car in a full race against the rest of the 1990 grid, so that should be quite fun and entertaining as well. So until then, hope you stick around and subscribe so you can be notified of that video coming out. See what I did there? But yeah, like I say, thank you very much for watching. I've been Ada Milward. Have a great day wherever you live in the world, and I'll see you all again on Friday for a Life Formula 1 car going very slowly, I can imagine, round a racetrack. Goodbye.